I stared at the small white box in my father's hands, the edges sharp, like the grin he wore when he said it, "Let's see if you're even mine." Thanksgiving, family laughter, and the knife hidden in his words. For 20 years, I'd been the mistake. My brother, always the golden son, favored, protected, praised. And I? The shadow he tolerated. I took the kit. I smiled. I said nothing. Inside, I felt the same quiet, simmering rage I'd carried since childhood. The rage that refused to speak, refused to beg, refused to crumble. I remembered when I was 10, lying awake as he whispered to my mother, "Sometimes I wonder if he's really mine." My mother's silence had carved a hollow inside me. I'd loved them both, blindly, desperately, and yet I'd been a curiosity, a burden, a joke. That night I promised myself I would prove something, not to them, but to me. Weeks later, the email arrived, the results. I read them in the kitchen, alone. One sentence, one truth. I was his only biological child. Every laugh, every slight, every cold dismissal, it had been aimed at me, misdirected, a lie for the whole family to swallow. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I plotted. Every moment after that was deliberate. Every word, every gesture, every calculated interaction designed to build the perfect reveal. First, the slow drip. Casual mentions at dinner. "Funny, Dad," I'd say. "I was looking at some old family photos the other day. Wonder who got your nose?" My brother laughed, unaware. My father tensed, subtly, but smiled anyway. The perfect mask of control. Then came the setup. I compiled every shred of evidence, birth certificates, photos, medical records, carefully, meticulously. I documented the DNA results, highlighted them, and attached them to an email. But not just to him, not just to my mother, to the entire family. I imagined the shock multiplying, the ripple of disbelief spreading. The truth deserved witnesses. The night of Thanksgiving, the day arrived. I placed the email in the queue while my father carved the turkey, oblivious, still confident in his cruel joke. The oven timer ticked down like a metronome to justice. "Everyone, I have something to share," I said, my voice calm, too calm. Silence fell. Forks paused mid-air, eyes turned. I hit send. My mother gasped. She clutched her chest and fell backward, fainting to the floor. The chaos was almost poetic. My father's fork clattered onto the plate. His face paled as he scrolled through his phone. I watched him, a man who had manipulated, belittled, and broken me, shrink in real time. "Wait, this can't be," he stammered. The arrogance, the superiority, evaporating like smoke. For 20 years he had weaponized my existence. For 20 years he had twisted reality to maintain control. And now, nothing. I didn't gloat. I let the silence speak. I let his disbelief suffocate him. He searched for a rebuttal, for some excuse, some miracle. There was none. Every denial he ever made, every insult, every favor granted to my brother, all meaningless in one truth-filled instant. I felt a strange calm wash over me. I wasn't celebrating, I was liberated. Years of quiet endurance, of strategic patience had led to this moment. Not revenge born of impulse, but revenge born of precision. I had dismantled him, not with anger, but with truth. My brother looked at me with confusion, betrayal, and finally a dawning horror. He had been complicit in my father's favoritism, unwittingly, but the scales shifted now. He stepped back, uncertain. My mother blinked awake, tears streaming, piecing together the reality that had been hidden under layers of lies. I met my father's eyes last.
Not with hatred, not with pleading, with clarity. "All these years, you called me a mistake," I said softly. "Turns out, I was the only one who mattered." He swallowed. No words came. The silence was heavier than any scream I could have let out. I had waited. I had endured. And now, justice had arrived. Not in chaos, but in calculated revelation. I didn't need a victory speech. I didn't need apologies. The truth had been enough. I had reclaimed the narrative of my life, stepped out of the shadow of favoritism, and reclaimed my dignity. Thanksgiving ended. Plates were cleared. Laughter returned, tentative and awkward. But I had already moved past it. For 20 years, I was the mistake. Tonight, I became the only one.